have a feeling this might be the end of this case, but we'll see. Welcome back. I did not murder the victim. Ness and I were close. He was my trusted subordinate. I had even named him as my successor before he died. Understand? He had no reason to murder Ness in such a convoluted manner. Simple enough. Simple testimony. You're claiming that you had no motive to kill the victim. Precisely. Ness was a friend of mine. I was deeply saddened by his untimely death. Motive A. The classic excuse, which I used to get by yesterday, but we'll forget that. I can recall everything I've learned about the Revallies over the past few days. I'd be able to discover the real reason that Ness Tinlin was murdered. Oops. So it's gotta be a newspaper article. Oh wow, speed up. I've already proven that you tampered with that security tape. Why else would you have done that if you're not the killer? Believe what you will. I have already said that I refuse to testify on this matter. He's really sticking by that, huh? You must know that I've got him cornered. The tape alone won't be enough to prove that he did it. I mentioned the sad theory about how this might play out, especially with the revelation that he's dying. The sad theory, let's just say, involves him actually telling the truth that he didn't do the murder. This guy's pretty clever. I need to watch my step. I'll say that and let you speculate. How long had the victim worked with you for? It's been several years now. Ness has been with the Revallies from the very beginning. It offends me that you would even suggest that I was his killer after all we've done together. You seem unlikely at face value. I've already seen the kind of thing that Revallies is capable of. Why'd you name Tinline as your successor? You already have a son, don't you? The boy still has much to learn before I would pass my legacy on to him. Tinline already possessed all the necessary skills to run the Revallies family. I'd be a fool to entrust anyone else with my business as long as he was around. And now he's dead. Does that mean that the leadership role will now be passed on to Tristan anyway? Convoluted. I honestly believe that I would commit a murder at my own casino, move the body, and forge evidence to pin the blame on the butler. All to get rid of a man who has been nothing but an asset to me all this time. Ridiculous! I would never do such a thing. Gotta hand it to him. He makes a convincing argument. There's gotta be a way to prove that the possibility exists. The way Revallies makes it sound, he really doesn't appear to have a motive to kill Tinline. According to him, they both worked together and trusted each other for a long time. The only reason Revallies would have betrayed the victim is that something had happened to make their working relationship turn sour. Now I've just got to figure out what kind of event could have caused something like that. Feels like this is a logical point to present this newspaper article. Actually, I can think of a pretty clear reason for you to have killed the victim. I think I mentioned this earlier in this case, but I feel like it makes sense why Franny would go there to want to investigate Revallies, given the approach of you gotta take out both heads, Nathan Maggs and Revallies, in order to actually take the group down. But I feel like not knowing that someone is going to die, I feel like it would have been a bit more convincing if she was aware of this case and said, hey, we gotta go tonight because we're worried that they're gonna do something to cover their tracks. It might have made the start of this case a bit more convincing, in my opinion. What on earth are you talking about? As we discussed yesterday, the woman was supposed to undergo a trial 2 days ago. after he was found to be in the possession of a large stash of illegal firearms. Oh yes, I remember this. From what I've heard, he was very angry when he found out that Ness had got himself caught. And for good reason as well. After all, if a member of the Rivales group is found guilty of such charges, that would most likely lead to many more investigations into your business, isn't that right? What are you saying? I'm saying that you would want to avoid such an outcome at all costs. And if Tinlin, the culprit, were to disappear before he could be put on trial, well, the investigation would need to be put on hold until he was found, isn't that right? Gah. So what you're saying is... That's right. Because of this incident that Rivales felt he had no choice but to kill the victim. They were planning on making him disappear without a trace. But your plan was ruined when the body was discovered by accident. Ugh. Oh! Okay, that angle makes sense too. Well, Vito Rivales, it's your duty to respond to the defense's claim. Keep in mind that your refusal to cooperate is only painting you to appear more suspicious. Huh. Apparently defense believes me to be some sort of savage. I confess that the charges against Ness were troublesome for me. I would never stoop so low as to stab my trusted friend in the back like that. I thought he was stabbed in the chest. Your Honor, please. Nevertheless, the defense has now proven you to possess both a motive for the crime, as well as an opportunity to commit it. In that case, I'll just need to prove that I do not have the means to kill Ness. I'll show once and for all that I have nothing to do with this murder. It appears we'll be needing another testimony from you, Mr. Rivales. How are you holding up? I'm fine. As long as he keeps on telling lies, I'll keep on exposing them. Very well. Explain to the court why you cannot be the culprit. Hello? Okay. We're here. Ness was stabbed with a work knife, correct? The prints of the knife match a pair of gloves found in the butler's room. Doe is the only one who could have left them there, which means he was the one who stabbed Ness. And let's not forget the fact that the knife in question came from Doe's toolkit. I was in the penthouse all evening. There was no chance of me to have taken it. It's clear that John Doe is the only possible culprit. I see. So you weren't able to stab the victim with the knife, which would make the butler the only possible culprit. Precisely. Doe was the only one with access to that knife. And the glove marks show that he is the only one who held it that night. Even if the stab wound wasn't the actual cause of death, somebody must have stabbed Tinlin's dead body after the murder. So far, the only evidence we have points to the culprit being Mr. Doe. Hold it up now, Apollo. That knife is the last piece of evidence that points to Mr. Doe as the killer. If you can explain this one last problem, we're pretty much home free. Right. Let's do this. Let's do this. We're getting closer. You mean this knife? It was in the victim's body when the police arrived. Exactly. It was the killer who stabbed Ness. But that person could not have been me, because... That's what I've been told, yes. Glove marks. These are much like fingerprints. So marks can be matched up to the gloves that were used to hold them. That kind of evidence can only be used to prove which pair of gloves was used. It tells you nothing about the person who was actually wearing them. Perhaps. It doesn't mean much in this case because... Doe was the only one who could have left them there, which means he was the one who stabbed Ness. We'd be absolutely sure that Mr. Doe was the only one who could have left them there. So there is only one key to Mr. John Doe's room, which he keeps on his person at all times. There are no signs of a break-in and no other way into that room. You should think that it's quite clear that only the butler could have left those gloves behind. Only him, huh? We'll see about that. So we have multiple avenues to object to here. So what? Somebody else could have stolen that knife. Surely you haven't forgotten Miss Tea's testimony. The butler was seen with a knife right before the victim's body was discovered. That implies that he is the one who stabs the victim. What Karma's saying is true. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's no way for someone else to take that knife. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself, in my own head. So, Mr. Doe's testimony here, and the master key at the Doe's room testimony. You were in the penthouse the entire time. I don't suppose that there's someone who can confirm that for us. The defendant himself visited the penthouse that night, remember? He would have seen me when he first arrived. That was before the body was found, true. That doesn't mean that you were there all evening, though. There's no way for you to prove otherwise, is there? After all, I never actually appeared on that security tape, did I? Duh, that's because you erased the entire thing. Vallis has raised a few good points here. Might take a while to break it down completely. In that case, I should address each problem one at a time. You can point out each flaw in Revalis' argument. We should be able to make it through this. Now, where should I start? Alright, let's start with this one, which is Doe's testimony. Actually, there may have been a chance for you to get your hands on that knife after all. What do you mean? I'd like for the court to take a look at this. It's a copy of this testimony that Mr. Doe gave to the court in yesterday's session. This is quite a long testimony. Please show the court which statement is important here. Or that shows where Vallis could have taken the knife is statement number. Oh god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're out of here. Number 9. It's statement number 9. Mr. Doe told us he went directly to Revalis' penthouse the night of the crime. It was just after he left that he realized that his knife was missing. Revalis, if you were in the penthouse at the time that, as you claim, you would have had every opportunity to steal that knife from Mr. Doe. That's nothing but conjecture. Besides, you're taking Doe at his word that he really lost the knife at that time. How would you consider the fact that he might just be lying to protect himself? Not only that, you still haven't explained the gloves found in his room. The marks of the knife show that it was handled by that specific pair of gloves. And Doe is the only one who could have possibly left them there. The gloves. I suppose this is the next problem I need to solve. Oh! Back to the testimony. You've got a master key, boy! It's not right for you to mislead the court like that, Revalis. You and I both know that you have access to the defendant's apartment. What? Mr. Justice, what is the meaning of this? It's true that there is only one key to Mr. Doe's room. That doesn't mean that it's the only key to open that door. What's that? There's another key that can be used to get into that room. The master key. It opens every door in the building. And it's kept in Vito Revalis' own private penthouse. You could have easily left those gloves at Mr. Doe's room. It was all just another part of your plan to frame him for the murder. Ugh. This is it, Revalis. I've shown the court that you have a motive for wanting the victim dead. I've proven that it was possible for you to commit the crime. And the security tape proves that you were trying to hide the truth about this case. It's time for you to come clean and admit the truth. Grr. Eh? Very well. I know when I've been beaten. It's about time that I confess. Confess? Oh, no way. Did we actually beat him? I got a bad feeling about this. I feel like my sad theory might be closer to reality than expected. I murdered Ness Tinlin. His recent troubles with the law made him a liability that needed to be dealt with. That is why I had no choice but to kill him. That night I went to his apartment, opened the door using this master key. Then, when he least expected it, I plunged the knife deep into his chest. I knew that the butler had been to Ness's room as well that night. That's why, removing the body, I planted the gloves I was wearing in his room. Then he erased the security footage from the second floor camera and replaced it with another recording. It would have been the perfect crime had that poker dealer not stumbled across the body. See. Mr. Justice? What's wrong? It doesn't make fucking sense. There's no way. He couldn't. But how could he? The defense, he said it, didn't he? But why? He couldn't actually be. This is insane. Scratch that. This is impossible. Oh boy, it's happening. It's fucking happening. Huh. You noticed it too, didn't you? What? So I didn't just imagine that? It doesn't make any sense. Apollo, what are you doing? Someone please explain what is going on here. In the witness's confession, there lies a contradiction. What? I don't believe it. Was Revalis lying? Why would he do something like that? So on camera, what is this contradiction you're talking about? I mean, what? Why would he say that he stabbed the victim before he threw him off? Haven't we been talking about the knife? I mean, he may not have been around for the first part of the trial, but... Didn't we mention... Did we not mention that fact of the case? Well, Apollo Justice, so you were the one who raised an objection earlier. Where's the contradiction in Revalis' confession? Autopsy? Revalis, were you here to watch the trial yesterday? No. I was busy yesterday and couldn't come. Shit. I only know about the case and what the police told me during the initial investigation. I told this court that you'd killed Ness Tinlin by stabbing him with John Doe's work knife. That doesn't make any sense, after all. Victor was only stabbed after he was already dead. What? Fuck, he's actually covering for his son. What? So this witness has been lying to us. Ness Tinlin died when he fell from his balcony. The knife was only inserted into his body after Miss Taya first saw it. That's a fact that the murderer should have known. Oh god. This is gonna get more sad before it gets better. Oh god, I can just see it now. Poor Tristan wanted to do something to prove to his dad that he could handle it. So oh god. Do you mean to say that this witness isn't the true culprit? No way. That can't be right. There's no way it could be anyone else. Sorry, Athena. Looks like we were wrong. Vito Revalis is not the murderer. He's only an accomplice to the crime. An accomplice? Do you have any evidence to support that claim? I do. This evidence shows that Vito Revalis was an What? What? Excuse me. Security footage, maybe? Security footage? Security tape. Only Revalis could have forged this piece of evidence. It wasn't to protect himself, it was to protect someone else. Because just like his confession, this evidence was created by Revalis in order to protect the real murderer. Well then, looks like there's just one more big question that needs answering. Who was Revalis protecting? Indeed. If not the witness, then who was the true culprit? Oh fuck, I wasn't expecting my sad theory to actually come true. Revalis wouldn't have confessed if he didn't think we were close to finding the real killer. He must have made some sort of mistake along the line. Think, Justice. Revalis was going to sacrifice himself to cover for the killer. Who would he go to such great lengths to protect? Miss Tillin's real killer is... It's gotta be Tristan. I can hardly believe it. I almost don't want to think that it's true, but... This is the only way to explain everything we know. Tristan Revalis, Vito Revalis' son. He's the one that really killed Ness Tinlin. But... What? What?! Apollo, what are you saying? How can Tristan be the killer? It's the only way that this would all make sense. Tristan lives in the penthouse with his father. Which means he would have had access to the master key. Only that, he would have had the same chance as Vito to steal Doe's knife. He's the one who killed Ness, moved the body, and planted the knife and gloves. That's when his father forged the security recording. Vito may not have known the full details, but he assisted in covering up his son's crime. I don't know, Apollo. Do you really think that Revalis would do something like that? Doesn't seem like the kind of person to perform a gesture of fatherly kindness like that. I mean, didn't he name the victim as his successor because he didn't trust Tristan? Did he not trust Tristan, or did he not want Tristan to get involved in that kind of life? Normally, I'd agree with you, Athena. There's one big reason that Revalis couldn't allow his son to be arrested. He's dying. What's this? There are a set of medical results addressed to Vito Revalis. You little sneak! Where did you find those? What? As you can see, the witness has been struggling with a terminal illness for some time now. Revalis may not care about his son. The one thing he does care about is his gang. With Ness Tinlin dead, and Vito living on borrowed time, there was just one person who'd be able to take control of the Revalis group. Tristan Revalis. He confessed just to make sure that his operation would continue after his own death? Well, Revalis, what you say in all of this? I actually think that it might have been out of some goodness. I still think that this might have been out of some goodness. What are you trying to prove? Already confessed. This trial is over. Far from it, Revalis. The days when he put a stop to you, and the Syndicate as well. Your Honor, I'd like to call Tristan Revalis to the stand. Yes, I suppose we should. You're all fools. Do you have any idea what you're doing? Enough! Bailiff, bring Tristan Revalis to the stand. Oh, fuck. This is continuing. Oh, man. Please state your name and occupation, witness. Witness, can you hear me? Name and occupation? Like, does that sort of stuff really matter at all? I mean, you guys don't really care, do you? Here we go. Are you absolutely sure about this? His name is Tristan Revalis, and he is a student. Can we proceed now? Like, why'd you ask me if you already knew? No reaction. Ow. My whip had no effect. This has never happened before. Whoa. He's even getting to Von Karma. I hate everything about this. Maybe we should just get straight to the point, Mr. Justice. Right. Tristan, have you been paying attention to the trial so far? Yeah. So you know why you've been called to the stand? Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the matter? I guess. This is impossible. Look, Tristan, can you just testify, please? Yeah, I guess so. Please, just start already. Oh boy. What is happening? But it's in, I guess. I'm pretty sure I didn't kill Ness. I mean, I don't have a motive or anything like that. Unlike Dad, I didn't really care about him getting arrested. I didn't even know Ness that well. Hardly ever spoke to him, so I'd have no reason to want him dead. Well, fuck, that's convincing. Ah, we're back to motive. So I'm gonna have to go back over how Tristan fits into all of this. Careful, Apollo. Denying that Ravalis is the culprit, we put Mr. Doe in danger again. It's all over unless you can prove that Tristan is the real killer. Right. I'm up to this. Yeah, there's still some facts of the case that we haven't used yet, like the bloody card and the John Doe testimony. Well, specifically the John Doe testimony where the stuff that we just learned in the investigation, where there was a stake knife left behind. Pretty sure. So, you still could have done it? I don't know. How could you not know? Either you did or you didn't. I'm starting to wonder if this witness would even be capable of murder. Maybe this was a bad idea. I mean, I don't have a motive or anything like that. Are you sure about that? Wouldn't be a very good motive if I forgot about it, would it? Sorry, I was yawning during that. Smartass. This was your family business, so to speak. Didn't you care that Tidland's arrest is putting it in danger? But it wasn't my business. It was Dad's and Ness's. Dad told me it wasn't good enough to take over. So why should I care what happens to it when Ness is going to be in charge? I think his father's decision really upset Tristan. That's weird. He spoke the other day, it almost sounded like he didn't care about the gang. Tristan hiding his true feelings this whole time? You two lived in the same building, and surely you would have seen each other a lot if Ness was your father's apprentice. I guess. We still didn't speak that much. I mean, Ness would always say hello and try to be nice to me, but never spoke much more than that. Guess he still just saw me as a kid instead of as an equal. I see why the victim might have felt that way. Says the teenager. I'm mature for my age! Maybe not mature per se, but you know what I mean. Are you sure that Tristan's the killer? He just seems so goofy. This is the only thing that makes sense. Vito Ravalis is protecting the real killer. Who else would he go to such lengths for apart from Tristan? Guess you got a point. All I need to do is prove it. I do with figuring out what Tristan's motive was. Between Tristan. Okay, because it is for sure. God, I'm sorry. I don't know what's coming over me. I wonder if we present Vito's results here. False. What? There's a contradiction here. Are you faking me out? You are faking me out. Hold on. Or not. You fucker. You fucker. Faking me out. Okay, let me present that here. False. Don't you fake me out again. Okay. Okay, so I think the way out of this is to just... This is the actual one. You're lying to us, Tristan. We presented Ness Tinlin's profile on the motive statement. You had a very strong reason to want the victim dead. What do you mean? It's obvious. Your father chose Ness Tinlin to be his successor. As Vito Ravalis' only son, that title should have been rightfully yours. It was taken from you. Getting rid of Tinlin was the only way for you to get it back. It is just as you said, Apollo Justice. With Vito Ravalis in his current condition, it's only a matter of time until a new leader was needed. That's another one I feel like the test results should have worked, also. And with his top man out of his picture, this witness was the only choice left. I see. Well, Tristan, what do you have to say for yourself? You figured it out, huh? Eh? I suppose it was pretty obvious. Witness? What are you doing, son? Oh god. Oh god. He rang. What on earth? Tristan! His whole demeanor suddenly changed. Well, well, Mr. Justice. Looks like you uncovered my plan. That's right. I'm gonna become the next head of the Ravalis family. Ness is pushing up daisies with the old man due to kick the bucket any day now. I'll be the one in control. I'll have the whole city under my thumb. And like that old fart, won't need anyone else's help to do it. This is swiftly becoming less sad. So you admit it? You killed Ness Tinlin. You'd like that, wouldn't you? Well, too bad, because I'm not admitting a goddamn thing. All I'm saying is that everything that happened ended up serving me pretty well. But yourself and show me any solid proof that I'm the killer. I can't believe it. He really did it, didn't he? The whole gloomy personality thing was just an act. Him this morning in the lobby. It wouldn't be good for me if Dad went to jail. I mean, like, now that he's not the greatest guy in the world, he's still my dad. He was just toying with us! That little creep! He played me like a damn fiddle. There's no way I'm letting this psychopath get away with this. Who knows what kind of damage he could do with the power of the Ravalis behind him. Apollo Justice. What this court requires now is conclusive evidence. Otherwise, I'm afraid that we can go no further. Von Kamp is right. I can't stall this trial any longer. I'm going to catch this snake. I have to do it now. I have a lot of evidence, and not one of a bit of it is conclusive. Oh, I can do this. I go over the whole case one more time. I'll find what I'm looking for. Okay, let's do it. This is the case as I understand it. At some point between 7:45 and 8:31, Tristan went to the victim's apartment. He pushed Ness from the balcony, killing him. Then he went downstairs in order to move the body. And discovered the body at 8:45, but passed out from shock. He was unconscious for 15 minutes, during which Tristan stabbed Ness's corpse with a knife he stole from Mr. Doe. Now, do I have any evidence that could possibly contradict that explanation? Yes. Something strange about the bloody card we found in the victim's room. What does this card contradict? Cause of death, time of death, or location of death. It could be either. Let's try cause of death. That seemed to work. Ah, of course. This card is covered in blood. This doesn't make any sense. After all, the victim was killed after he was pushed from the balcony in his apartment. He wasn't stabbed until his body was moved into the alleyway. Logically, there should have been no traces of blood found in the victim's room. To explain this contradiction, card is faked, card is moved. Oh, the evidence note doesn't say whose blood it was. That's it! This blood must not be the victim's at all. In that case, who did this blood on the card really belong to? Okay. Touchdown. The blood on the card belongs to Tristan. Him and the victim must have gotten into a struggle when Tristan pushed him off the balcony. Yes, this is just the evidence I need. I've got you, Tristan. Oh boy. What's this all of a sudden? Your Justice? Your Honor, I have conclusive evidence of Tristan Revalis' guilt. You do? What is this evidence you're speaking of? This card. It belonged to the victim. However, there's a very large problem with this evidence. Tristan wasn't stabbed until after he was pushed from the balcony. By that logic, no blood should have been spilled in his apartment. But this card says otherwise. Yes, I was rather puzzled by that. Wait, you're not saying... Did you even test it, Franny? This blood on this card doesn't belong to the victim. The killer left it behind when he fought with Ness Tinlin. The killer was probably injured in the struggle. Tristan, you wouldn't happen to have any injuries like that, would you? Huh. Oh man, you should have seen your face. You actually thought you got the better of me, didn't you? Too bad. I ain't going down that easy. What? There's a few problems with your little theory. I'm gonna need some answers before I let you take me away. This isn't gonna be good. Get ready, Mr. Justice, 'cause I'm about to tear you to shreds. Tristan's a ruddle. I'll admit, I might have had a bit of a scratch on my left arm, but it's not like there's anything suspicious about that. It may well be my blood on that card, but there's nothing suspicious about that either. After all, it's not like you can prove that I was in Ness's room when the murder happened. Who knows when my blood got on that card? It could easily have happened weeks ago. Not to mention that there wouldn't have been anything in Ness's room that could make that kind of cut. There's no way you can link my injury to Ness's murder. So there's the point that we counted. How could you say that there's something suspicious about your injury? Just because I have a cut on my arm doesn't mean I killed Ness. And if my blood did end up on that card, there's no proof that it happened that night. I suppose the witness has a point. Unless you have proof of the struggle between this witness and the victim, then I'm afraid that you cannot conclusively name him as the killer. How am I supposed to prove something like that? Just have to listen closely for any problems with Tristan's testimony. And hopefully I'll be able to get something out of him. It should be simple enough. A scratch? Well, maybe it's a bit worse than a scratch. Perhaps you'd call it a cut. Maybe a gash. So, a stab wound. Who's to say? I'm no doctor. Anyway. There's everything suspicious about that. No. Moving on. In that case, how did you injure your arm? Who knows? Maybe I caught it on a loose nail. Maybe I had an accident in the kitchen. Maybe I got it in a fight. Whatever it was, you can't prove that it happened when Ness was murdered. Ugh. Damn brat's trying to torment me. I'm gonna let him psych me out. Maybe it will be my... How so? Not just because my blood was found in Ness's room doesn't mean I killed him. It proves that you were in the victim's apartment at the time of the murder. Are you sure about that? Can you prove when my blood got on that card? Well, you see, there's no way you can use that card to pin this on me. When else could your blood have found its way onto this playing card? It belonged to the victim, so it should have been in his room at all times. Or maybe it got there when I was in his apartment on some other occasion. But you said yourself that you and the victim hardly spoke. What reason would you have to be in his apartment like that? That's not how this works. All I'm saying is that my blood didn't necessarily get there when the murder happened. Whatever really did happen is of no concern to you. As you can prove that I fought with Ness that night. I'm afraid that your questioning ends here. So witness is correct. We are only concerned with what happened at the time of the murder. Nothing else. Von Karma's hints are aggressive. Wouldn't the victim have thrown the card away after it got blood on it? After all, something like a stain on the card would ruin his plan to use it to cheat at poker. Maybe, but you can't be certain that he would have thrown it away. I mean, who really knows what was going on in that guy's head? None of this makes my theory any less valid. I suppose so, but a theory is all that it is. You're going to need some actual proof if you're planning on pinning this murder on me. Otherwise, I'm afraid that your butler friend's fate is sealed. I've come too far to let that happen, Tristan. Here's the point where you're going down. What do you mean? Crime scene with the victim's own apartment. Sure, they must have had some knives or something in the kitchen. Well, from what I've heard, Ness didn't do a whole lot of cooking. He would have had all of his meals delivered by the kitchen downstairs. Right. He did the same thing on the night of the murder. Most he would have had would be a few dull bits of cutlery. But even those would have been shut away in his kitchen. If he really did grab a weapon in a struggle with his killer, it would have needed to be somewhere that he could easily reach. Servetus has a point. This weapon would have needed to have already be out if the victim were to grab it in self-defense. A weapon. I seriously wasn't expecting something like this. I know that Tristan's lying. His excuse is just too convenient. All I've got to do is prove that I'm right. And the first step is dealing with any arguments that Tristan has made in his testimony. Okay, where's Doe's testimony? Here's Doe's testimony. I know which weapon the victim used to defend himself. You do? The answer lies in John Doe's testimony. That's awfully vague. That tells which statement shows the weapon that the victim used. Don't mind this little addendum that I scribbled in here. Well, it's statement 10. It's a statement here. Don't think that's, like, the right answer. I mean... Okay, it's not that. Number 5, then. Because that's when he left the cutlery in his apartment. Like I would know or anything. Please, let's not do this again. Alright, number 5. Right here. The 5th statement. As you already heard, Mr. Doe went to the victim's room to collect the dishes from his meal. Apparently he left some cutlery behind by accident. Specifically a steak knife and fork. A steak knife? Naturally, this cutlery would have been left out on the victim's dining table, as he had just finished using it for his meal. That means the knife should have been within his reach when the murder occurred. I see. So what you're saying is... that knife was the weapon that the victim used to defend himself. Oh my. Yes, I suppose that is possible, isn't it? The victim wounded his killer in the struggle. It resulted in their blood staining this playing card. If we can prove that the blood belongs to Tristan with a DNA test, it will conclusively prove his guilt once and for all. Oh, great. What is it now? Ha! 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 Oh, brother. I really can't get enough of that face you make when you think you have it all figured out. Oh, come on. What argument could you possibly make now? So, you got Ned stabbed with a steak knife, huh? This would be pretty bad for me if you could prove something like that. I'm afraid that there's just one little problem. Where did this knife disappear to? Where? Oh, you would definitely be able to link me to Ness's murder if you found a knife with my blood on it. But, tell me. You guys, the police, the prosecutor, did any of you find anything like that at the casino? Well, to my knowledge, the police have found nothing of the sort. There was no cutlery from the downstairs kitchen found in the victim's apartment. What? You mean to tell me that the evidence has gone missing? Not missing. It never existed in the first place. It's this whole story that Mr. Justice has been telling us about a big fat lie. About Mr. Doe's testimony. According to him, that knife should still be in the victim's apartment. You're really taking the defendant's word over solid evidence? Maybe he saw this whole thing coming and lied, putting the blame on somebody else. It's ridiculous. There's no way that Doe could have planned something like that. Either way, you can't prove me guilty without the evidence to back you up. That smug little. He knew that this would happen. Let us down this path, just so we could dismantle our argument. You're right. You know something else? That he's the one who hid that knife with his blood on it. He knew he wouldn't find it, that's why he asked us about it. Hide the evidence? Oh, Mr. Justice, I am offended. To think that I would stoop so low. Besides, it's not like you could even have done something like that. What are you talking about? Well, the police searched the crime scene pretty well. Where could I have hid evidence like that without it being found? That's true. The police investigated every room that night. Every room that might have been linked to the murder. The entire ground floor was searched, as well as the victim's apartment, the defendant's room. After his arrest last night, Vito Vervalis' penthouse was searched for evidence. All that, and they still turned up nothing? Let's not forget one other thing. If you'll recall, the wound in question is on my upper arm. That means if it really was caused by a fight with Ness on the night of the murder, there would have been a big bloody tear left in my clothes, right? If I had left the crime scene in that state, don't you think that someone would have noticed something? Something like that poker dealer, for instance. I mean, she did say that she saw me just after the murder, didn't she? That's true. I don't get it. He's gotta be the killer. Of course he is. Must be missing something. Well, Mr. Justice, as this court hears an answer, I'll be forced to hand down my verdict. Not yet, Your Honor. I still prove my theory. Ha! You're bluffing. Of course I am. No need him knowing that. Times like this that Mr. Wright would tell me to turn my thinking around. Let's see. I'm thinking about why nobody noticed Tristan's wound. Thinking about how we could have hidden it. Stayed out of sight, changed his clothes, fixed his clothes. Changed. That's the obvious answer. You know what, Tristan? You're too cocky for your own good. Oh? I know how you operate. You manipulate people into thinking the way you want them to think. You hid your true face behind an eccentric persona to make us think you were harmless. You manipulated us into feeling sorry for you. And then, when the truth was close to being revealed, you tried to intimidate and distract me. None of that matters now. As in your attempts to taunt and confuse me, all you really did was lead me straight to the decisive evidence that I needed. Ha! Try me. Let's start with the rebuttal you made. As you said, you would have drawn a lot of attention to yourself. Had you left the crime scene with a visible wound and tear on your clothes, it means that you would have needed to change your clothes before you went downstairs again. Change my clothes, eh? Suggesting that I brought some clean clothes to meet Ness's apartment? You wouldn't need to, as you could easily have taken a spare set of clothes from the crime scene. Of course. The crime scene was the victim's apartment. No doubt there would have been some clothes somewhere in there. Huh. So how do you intend to prove I stole anything from Ness's room? That's the point. What if you found that Tristan had a set of the victim's clothes? There'd been no way to prove that he stole them on the night of the murder. Besides, he's probably already gotten rid of them by now. It would be very difficult to prove anything by investigating the set of clothes you changed into. But if the defense were to locate the set of clothes you changed out of, well, I believe it would be a very different scenario. What? Of course. Bloody clothes that Tristan changed out of. If I could find them, it would prove my theory. Thanks, One Karma. Wait a minute. Where could Tristan have left his bloody clothes? Oh, the police never found anything like that. The entire... but we just saw this. We just saw this, like, less than a minute ago. If we're relevant if the murder was searched. I mean, I guess it's a nice reminder, but... it means that Tristan must have hid his clothes somewhere. We previously thought to be unrelated to the case. Okay, let's take this one step at a time. Which floor did Tristan hide the bloody clothes? Okay, second floor. I doubt that Tristan would have risked carrying a set of bloody clothes around a crowded casino. It means that they must be hidden somewhere on the second floor, close to the crime scene. You do realize that you don't have a shred of proof to back this up, don't you? I'll have all the proof you could ever want soon enough, Tristan. Because I know precisely where you hid the evidence. Alright. There's an apartment that's conveniently been empty for quite some time. Out of camera view. Let's pick that. Abandoned apartment. The perfect hiding place. Being empty, nobody would have been able to stumble across the clothes by chance. And the police weren't likely to bother searching it, as it had no reasonable link to the murder. As that is correct, just as Miss Sky told us in yesterday's session. The police knew that the apartment was empty, so they never checked inside. The apartment was locked up tight. I wasn't able to get inside there. Come on, Tristan, we both know that's not true. It's entirely possible for you to open that door. The abandoned apartment. Master key. I've already established that you have access to the master key kept in the penthouse. All you had to do was take it with you to the second floor when you killed the victim. Gah! The police have been occupying the casino since the murder occurred. It means you couldn't have had a chance to move the evidence since you hid it that night. As I said, Tristan, there's no doubt that those bloody clothes of yours are hidden in the empty apartment. If I had to guess, that knife the victim stabbed you with is right there with it. As soon as that evidence is found, your fate will be sealed. Ooh. Scratched your own eye. I'll never forget that day. Ness? Are you kidding me? Calm down, Tristan. Calm down? How the hell am I supposed to do that? I must be in charge. Nobody else. How could you choose Ness over me? You lack restraint, son. You're too emotional. You don't think things through. Being the head of a gang is all about decisions. I don't trust you to make the right ones. Who the hell are you to call me a bad leader? Our values were a laughingstock, the lowest of the low. The only reason we're still around is because you sold out of the gang to some rich snob. You were weak. Ness is weak. The only person in this damn gang who's gonna screw it up is me. My decision is final. Okay, this... Leave me. This is making me come around a bit to the, I had a hunch that the old man was on his way out, even before I saw those test results. I couldn't believe that he'd name a successor if he didn't think he didn't have long... If he didn't think he didn't have long left. It just means that I was running out of time to reclaim what was rightfully mine. I didn't intend on killing Ness when I showed up to his room that night. I knocked on his door and he shouted to tell me to let myself in. He was stood on the balcony smoking a cigarette. Apparently, he had just finished eating a meal out there. Apparently, was left at the small table. There was no plate to be seen. Step down? Why would I ever do that? Because you're not prepared to run the Revalis. Truly, I wouldn't do something stupid like let myself get arrested. Tell the old man that I should be the new head instead. Ah, I get it now. Is little Tristan upset that Daddy put me in charge? Don't take it personally. He probably just doesn't want some snart-nosed little punk running his gang. Maybe when you're older. Gah, you bastard. He's teasing out the better of me. I grabbed him by the collar and pushed him against the balcony fence. Easy, kid. Don't do something you'll regret. Shut the hell up, asshole. Don't say I didn't warn you. Oh, damn. Ah! Suddenly there was a burning pain in my right arm. Ness was holding the vibe that was on the table next to us. That was all the reason I needed to give the final push. Back into the left. I was in shock. I could hardly believe what I had done. Everything I could to cover my tracks. I went back inside the apartment, but my blood began to drip everywhere. I used my shirt to clean up the floor and stole a new one from Ness's room. I thought I got it all, but once I left a spot behind in my panic. Guess the old man was right. Maybe I'm really not cut out to be a criminal. I mean, you certainly sound like you're cut out to be a criminal. You're just not. The question is, you're not cut out to run the gang. You lack emotional restraint. I was gonna say that that scene really went a long way to having this personality change grow on me. But now it makes sense. Tristan, in reality, was just the Sonny Corleone of the Revalis family. The headstrong, reckless one. Well, Miss Von Karma? What were the findings of the investigation team? It is as the defense predicted. A torn shirt and a pair of trousers were found, both stained with Tristan Revalis' blood. As they were wrapped around this, a bloody knife from the casino kitchen. Ah! The defendant was telling the truth. It would appear so. As for our witness, it would seem that he really is Ness Tinlin's killer. Not only that, but his father, Vito Revalis, was an accomplice. I see. Well, it appears that there's nothing left for me to do but to give my verdict. The court finds the defendant, John Doe. Court is adjourned. Excellent, Apollo Justice. You have done me a great favor. Now, if there's anyone you wish to disappear, I will make that happen for you. I do repay my debts, after all. Sir, please, you must understand. Don't try and talk your way out of this one. You blew the job. There were complications. Things were complicated, all right. Went and got yourself arrested. A professional you turned out to be. I assure you that my arrest was unrelated to the job. Doesn't matter. Can't afford any more slip-ups. If somebody had figured out who you really were. Please, I know what I'm doing. Keep a fake set of documents for occasions such as this. Nobody could identify you? Of course not. I always cover my tracks. The police have very little information with which they could identify me. Nobody there knew your face. The prosecutor might have caught a glimpse of my face, but that was a very long time ago. Other than her, only the chief prosecutor could have recognized me. As I understand it, he's been very preoccupied as of late. Sounds to me like you just got lucky. Well, forget it. It's too risky for us to continue like this. Can't take care of it. I'll finish the job myself. You can't be serious. I am. This is it, my friend. As of now, you are officially off of the job. Don't expect your pay to come anytime soon. I'm begging you. Please be reasonable about this. Oh, and one more thing. Never contact me again. Huh. When did this conversation happen? Woo! We actually made it through. I don't think I've ever been so relieved after the end of the trial. I know, right? What a feeling in the world. After doing this good, that's how Mr. Doe must be feeling. He is feeling bad. Because he got fired. Wait a second, where is Mr. Doe? Ah! Huh? What's he doing out there? Looks a bit put off. Mr. Doe? Is everything okay? Oh! Yes, of course. I'm just having a bit of trouble with an acquaintance of mine. That's weird. Anyway, I must thank you for everything, Mr. Justice. Miss Sykes. I hope it's nothing. You changed that subject rather quickly. Now then, I believe that I owe you some form of pay. Oh! I mean, you don't... Apollo, you don't need to. Nonsense. It's the least I can do. I believe this should cover it. What? Am I dreaming? Holy smokes! Is that real? Mr. Doe, we couldn't possibly accept... Ow! We will graciously accept. Keep quiet, Apollo. I was gonna really use a new TV. Please, you deserve it for all you've done. Mr. Justice? Huh? You are also investigating the Syndicate, aren't you? With Miss Von Karma? What? Wait a second. How do you know about the Syndicate, Mr. Doe? There are many things that I cannot say. My code of honor prevents me from revealing too much. However, considering the circumstances, I would like to give you this. Huh? What is that? Important information. I suggest you hold on to it. Plastic card cautiously taken from Mr. Doe. The name Shady is written on the back in thick black ink. Good luck to you, Mr. Justice. Officer, I'm in need of an escort back to the detention center. Oh, wait a second. Okay. What's that all about? So who does Shady really work for? Did Shady hire the killer? Or, I don't know. What is the job that the killer failed? This card, there's writing on it. Well, so just leave it in my pocket for now. You did well today, Apollo Justice. Prosecutor Von Karma. With both Vito Vervalis and his son behind bars, Interpol will finally have a shot at putting an end to the Vervalis family once and for all. And with them out of the picture, Nathan Magg's syndicate will have been dismantled. Ah, Nathan Magg's syndicate. So what happens now? Now, your work is done, Apollo Justice. Leaves the rest to Interpol. What's wrong? Aren't you pleased to hear this? It's just... it doesn't feel like our work is done. There's still more questions. Such as... I still have a couple of questions regarding this person. Shady. He works for the Ravalis family. That gangster that brought you to Ravalis' penthouse last night, you knew him? We spoke a couple of times. And what's so special about him? Is he just another one of Ravalis' men? No, I don't think so. It's almost like Shay didn't even want to work for Ravalis in the first place. Seemed pretty happy about the idea of Vito getting arrested. And it's weird. He's not the only person I was wondering about. Edward Crook. He told us that he's a defense attorney. Apparently he offered to take Mr. Doe's case before we did. What? You haven't heard about this? Mr. Doe turned him away almost immediately. He mentioned that he wasn't able to trust an attorney like Crook. At first I thought that Doe was just being paranoid, but... would that guy really be connected to the Ravalis? I admit that it does seem a bit strange. Make sure to look into this during the investigation. As for you, Apollo Justice, it's time for you to go. Interpol will handle things from here. It would be best that you just forget about this case. Forget? Huh? Even after all that we went through during the Rivales case, I never did truly figure out what was bothering Apollo so much. It was clear that he was deeply worried about something. It wouldn't be until a while later that I truly understood. Is what had been going through his head all this time. It was on that day when we discovered the link between all of these cases. A tragic past lurking in the shadows behind the criminal syndicate. Now, is this on to the extra case? That's what I'm curious about, because there's 1, 2, 3, and then I think the progression goes to an extra case, and then onward. Oh man! Oh man! Remember when I thought the truth of this case was going to be sad? Man, do I feel silly now. But it works. Hey, and Franny gets to be the case background for this case. See you in case 4. What? What's this? That's enough. What is this? I see no need to further prolong this case. I'm prepared to hand down my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Charles Fuzz. What? Oh no! Oh no! Oh, you sneaky fuck. What is happening here? There's the paid-off judge. There's Crook and Fuzz. Oh, fuck. So what the hell is even going to happen next? Like, I'm pretty sure the, I'm fairly certain that the next case in this progression is the extra case. Yep, just confirming. So, expecting the next case to be fairly short. Either a flashback case or a side case, but like I said, I think ultimately the only quibbles I have were just with the setup of Von Karma in the beginning. But I'm gonna say that my other gripes can be explained away by like, number one, why didn't we test the blood on the card? Number two, I guess we could gripe about the whole dumbwaiter theory, but I mean, it worked what it did, and it paid off down the line based on how we worked it out. Down the line. It is, struggling to put my thoughts together, but yeah, I could chalk up the small evidential quibbles I had with this case as just police oversight in that typical Ace Attorney fashion. The thing with the clock and the security footage could be reasonable if you're hyperfixated on the hallway that you don't notice what's going on with the clock, but that's just me nitpicking. It's hyperfixated that while we assumed that victim was stabbed to death in his apartment and we found blood in there, that it's probably his. It's reasonable to assume that, with the turn the investigation took, that remembering the card existed was just a bit of oversight. The turn with Tristan Still felt really jarring about how he just ditched the persona after we mentioned on the record in court that you were next in line, mate. It's like, oh fuck, just I guess I'll reveal now. But it made sense in the end. It was a persona he was willingly maintaining, and he just decided it was time to show up and fight. So that works. Even his reasoning made sense in the end. It's maybe it helps that I have the Godfather comparison of old Sonny Corleone. Got himself killed by being headstrong and trying to go to war. It was a terrible dawn. I'm an okay dawn, I like to think. Better than some days better than others. Today's actually pretty good, so I'm alright with that. Yeah, the only quibble was I feel like Franny should have had a reasonable assumption. Like, why wouldn't the whole gun smuggling case strike Interpol's interest? Why wouldn't she know about that? Why would that not have been a reason for her to be there? In case something happened to the star witness that could shed some light onto the case. That's the only thing that didn't make sense in the end. So, it was still good. I enjoyed it. And next time, a bonus case.